There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Hi there, and welcome back to winter on this Valley News Now weather update. We are talking about winter weather coming back. So this update's brought to you by 1-800-WATER DAMAGE of North Dakota. We're watching out for some water out there. We had some rain last night in some areas. It really added up, that liquid moisture. And then on top of that, we've had snow, and it's led to some tough travel, some slick conditions, and some issues out on the roads here as we've continued on through the day today. So let's get right to it. We want to talk about what we've seen, how it's impacting us now, and what we expect to come as we're tracking our way through these first alert weather days. So first off, you can see the colorful map behind me, our winter weather alerts. So a reminder, we have a winter storm warning in red. So Grand Forks hiding behind the wordage there. This is along Highway 2 and points north. This is the area where we have the best bet of seeing 6 inches of snow or more, and that's definitely verifying in a lot of places. One thing I want to stress is when these alerts are issued, it doesn't mean, if we're talking about the potential for 6 inches or more, that doesn't mean the National Weather Service is saying everybody's going to get 6 inches or more. It means the possibility is there in this area. Had some folks saying, we don't have any snow. First of all, the storm's not done yet. But secondly, we are also, not necessarily going to see uniform amounts of snow. That doesn't happen all that often with storm systems. You get banding, you get areas where temperature difference means some snow melts or compacts, and others where it really adds up. And we'll talk about that. We'll show you that in just a moment. But again, winter storm warning in effect until midnight tonight in that area. And this morning, if you haven't checked in just yet, just know that the winter weather advisory was expanded this morning. It covers everywhere that wasn't under an advisory essentially last night. So that includes Lakes Country, parts of southeastern North Dakota, Fargo-Moorhead in this advisory in blue. So expecting snow, but the higher amounts not looking as likely, and that's verifying this morning. And then some other issues going on, a blizzard warning, ongoing blizzard conditions that when I checked in a little while ago in the Aberdeen area, they've had some localized very strong winds and some heavy snow and surrounding areas under blizzard conditions too. So traveling into that part of South Dakota, definitely not recommended right now. Wind advisory in the light blue, and also the Roberts County area, the Sisseton Hills, upgraded to a high wind warning. I believe that's in effect until noon today. Or excuse me, 2 p.m. today. So again, lots of areas under some type of alert. Let's take a look at, okay, we're going to talk about additional snow. So this would be on top of what we've already seen. I put a pause there for a second because that was through tonight. I've also added, and I've been showing this all along, the snow potential through Thursday. So this is kind of a long duration event. So through today and even into tomorrow, we've got the potential for isolated to scattered snow showers, and that could lead to several more inches of snow in spots. You can see some areas, very small pockets where we might get that 5+ range. A lot of us in that 2 to 5 range, if we see this hold together in those areas that continue to develop over the next 24 hours, and then surrounding areas 1 to 2 inches of snow. Take this as just an idea that you may see another couple of inches of snow yet with this system on top of what you've seen here this morning and overnight last night for some of us. And it did add up. Here's a look at some of our snowfall reports so far. Devil's Lake checking in as the big winner here at a foot of snow there. Several reports of a foot of snow. That wasn't just one report. Bemidji, Alvarado, both reporting 6 inches of snow, so a half foot of snow in those parts of the Northern Valley. East Grand Forks, the highest report I've seen from the Grand Cities is in East Grand Forks at 4 inches of snow there. And then Fargo-Moorhead, the highest report I've seen in the FM Metro is 2.4 inches with, some light snow coming down still. So within that range so far of what we were expecting. Again, remember Fargo was going to be in that zone of transition as far as rain is concerned, and it took a minute. The snow transitioned over I was working this morning as it happened. It was raining when I drove in very early this morning. And then between the 4 and the 5 o'clock hour, we watched it go from just all rain to suddenly flakes, and not just flakes, big flakes that were accumulating rather quickly on the road. And then it kind of slowed down from there. So again, we saw that transition happen, and it's led to some really slick roads, some real big issues out on the roads for a lot of places because, you've got that layer of rain turning to ice as temperatures drop, some slush as the snow falls and starts to accumulate, and then snow on top of that. And we've had a lot of reports of slick roads and issues with travel on roads. We're going to talk about that coming up here in just a moment. Just want to check in on some of those reports. Again, this came from one of our viewers. I want to thank Sherry for uploading this. She shared it with me on Facebook, and I know we get a lot of your pictures there. That's where you kind of turn to upload photos. We appreciate seeing them, but we can't share them unless you upload them to our photo gallery. I know it's a little bit of a hassle, but that goes through that permission gaining threshold here. So then we know we have your permission to share your photos, and we give you credit for them as we share them as well. And then once they're in the gallery, other folks can see them. It's a one-stop shop for everybody to upload their photos and see what other people have experienced as you upload them there too. So again, this is the photo that was uploaded. Sherry said, and thank you again for uploading that after sharing on Facebook, this is in Devil's Lake. You can see that ruler there. She said that this is on her driveway. On her deck, she had about 8 inches of snow, but this started from scratch, no snow on the ground. And she said in 12 hours, 10 hours rather, she got 12 inches of snow, which would equate to a snowfall rate of more than an inch an hour in Devil's Lake. And it certainly did add up. So thanks again, Sherry, for sharing that. And we'd had some great coverage this morning on the Valley today. We had team coverage. It was our regular crew in the morning, plus Austin, our morning reporter, and our producer, Philip, went up north to Grand Forks. This is their handiwork behind me here to cover the snow there. And then Chief Meteorologist Russ Thomas and Bobby Fallett came in and did some live reporting from Fargo to show that transition as well. So we had some great coverage this morning. Really appreciate them coming in early to help us tell the story. And tomorrow, Austin and Philip will be up in Grand Forks again, checking on conditions as the system's winding down. And they'll be there throughout the day today, too, keeping you up to date as well. But this is their photo. Austin took this and shared it with me of that snowman they built. They said it's great snowman making weather. That snow is wet, sticky, easy to roll up into snowballs. If you want to have a snowball fight, make a snow fart, or make a snowman here. This one they named Snow Tatum because it was named after our anchor Tatum Miller. She was working today but unable to be on air, and so this was her way of being on air. I just love our team. So again, great morning for snowman building if you don't have to go anywhere. We had a lot of schools canceled, delayed, so it's a great snow day to get out and enjoy this snow. Let's take a look at, I'm going to pull up our website, if you'll bear with me just a moment, and we'll take a look at some of the reports that have come in. We'll take a look at road conditions here really quick too. So again, just want to head to valleynewslive.com and then weather page. And we'll start first with photos because, I was telling you about uploading your photo. Here's our forecast discussion if you ever want to read that. We update that several times a day. I updated it about 30 minutes ago, and then you can see as we scroll down, we've got our forecast, our current conditions, radar, and some of our weather graphics and maps here. And if you want to upload your photos, we've got a place where you can do that right here. You can click on that to upload your photo. I believe we also have, if you don't want to scroll down that far, our weather pictures gallery, and you can actually see the photo that Sherry shared with us from Devil's Lake. So I haven't gotten too many in yet from this storm, so we'd really appreciate hearing from you guys, getting those uploaded there. So you can do that through our website, on your desktop or on your phone. You could do that too, either through the VNL Weather app or typing it into your browser on your phone. Okay, so let's get to some of these reports coming in. Again, closings and delays always at the top of your screen during these events. A lot of virtual learning days, a lot of snow days and delayed openings for some places. Just looking at, looks like there's some businesses that have been impacted, and definitely some schools that have been impacted by this. I was concerned that, we might have it's Ash Wednesday, we might have some churches that cancel services, but I have not seen any reports coming in. But you'll want to check with your church if you're planning to head to Ash Wednesday services. And then our weather alerts are at the top of the screen too. You can always check these out and read the latest advisories and language from the National Weather Service there too. So again, some one-stop shopping here. Let's go back to the weather page, and let's get to road conditions. So this is North Dakota. We'll click on. Looks like we already have that open here, but that's okay. So looking at North Dakota, I am actually going to click back over to that so that we have it open, and then we'll go. I'm just going to navigate back to our webpage there. Okay, so you can see there are areas where no travel is advised. And that includes, as I refresh it just to make sure we have the latest info, areas in red, shaded in red. So that includes I-29 from Grand Forks County, actually just south of Grand Forks County, the Buxton area, up through Grand Forks and all the way to the Pembina area, the Canadian border. Pembina County, Walsh County, Nelson, Grand Forks, Steele, and Griggs counties here included in that no travel advisory. And that's where we're dealing with some tough conditions on the roads. If I click on that, travel alerts, weather, blowing snow, reports of snow on the roads, and reduced visibility. So again, no travel advised there. Any area highlighted in purple, I'll zoom out a little more so you can see this area is not highlighted in purple, but this whole part of the state is, and over by Williston, that's where a travel alert is in effect. So not quite to the level of a no travel advisory, but still a travel alert. And we've got a lot of snow-covered roads. In purple, that's snow-covered. In yellow, that's ice. So you can see that's around Jamestown. Dark blue is wet roads. Again, some of us are still above freezing. And so we've got wet roads at the moment. Again, we're going to see temperatures drop, so that may freeze over if untreated in those untreated spots. And then I'll just look up I'm just going to pull up our cameras and take a look at some of these locations. So in that no travel advisory, Emerado, not looking too hot on the road surface. You can see snow that's compacted down. Visibility doesn't look terrible in this particular point, but again, there are other areas that are struggling more with visibility. Let's go up to Edinburgh into Walsh County. You can see snow and ice on the road surface. And over by Devil's Lake, where we saw all that snow, definitely some snow on the roads here. I used this morning a plow camera from around Devil's Lake, and there was a lot of snow in the view from that camera earlier on. Of course, it's been cleared away because that plow was going through. But again, a lot of snow in some of these spots. I'm trying to pull up our Castleton camera here, but it's not cooperating. There we go. One other thing I want to note here, you can see there's water-filled ditch here. This happens, when we start to get into the spring thaw, and we were having that midwinter melt. So there's standing water in the ditch, and then if you have any ice on the road and you slide off, you do not want to end up in this water. We've had that happen today. Sergeant Jesse Grabo, the public information officer with the Minnesota State Patrol in our area, shared some pictures. He shared some photos and video of cars that slid off the road and had issues with the snow on the road surface. So, and then ended up in the ditch. Doesn't sound like anybody got hurt, but still a scary situation. So something to keep in mind this time of year, that extra hazard with the melting that we've had and with the rain that we had too, that's filling up some of these ditches. Okay, so that's, some of our road conditions. We'll just check in on a couple more of these, looking pretty similar. This is in the Gackle area, pretty ice and snow covered there. And then we'll go to Minnesota here, and you can see that we also have this shaded area is actually the winter storm warning. And then some areas where visibility is lower. We'll pull our legend, and I'll turn off that weather warning so it's a little more clear, more clean view. And a reminder that these dots on the highway, these black dots, that's reduced visibility. Half mile or less in the wider space dots, and then 1/10 of a mile or less in the closer dots. I'm not seeing anything that low, but still some lower visibility in those areas. And I'm going to, let's turn on our cameras. So let's check Thief River Falls, north of town. Some ice on the road. That looks similar to North Dakota, not too different there. A little farther south, we'll go a little east toward Lake Itasca. You can see some snow drifting onto the road, some snow falling. There's some drifting right there. And I'm just going to pull that up again. I thought I saw Oh, that's just a mailbox. Okay, just wanted to check, make sure everybody's all right. And then Frazee, a little bit of water on the camera there. And so, again, temperatures are near freezing or even above in some spots, but we've picked up some snow there. There have been some places that haven't seen as much, just a little bit of snow in Fergus Falls, but visibility is reduced. Farther south looks a little bit murky along I-94 in that corridor too. And then down toward the Graceville area, in our very southern viewing area, it looks a little more rainy in that spot, maybe a few flakes. So we'll pull up our plow cams just to see what we've got going on. Lots of plows. Look at all these plows. Each one of these indicators, each one of these icons is a plow. So here's one on Highway 200. That looks snowy. An older view at 10:30, you can see the snow on the road surface. So give them plenty of room, of course, as they're trying to get the work done and get the roads cleared for you. So that's a look at roads. Again, it's pretty, tough out there in a lot of spots. It's pretty slick and icy. We do have road reports for North Dakota, Minnesota, and South Dakota. Why don't I pull up South Dakota? I don't look at South Dakota very often. And that is an area where we've got that blizzard warning. Looks like no travel advised around Aberdeen, where we've had the issues with blizzard conditions. South of Ellendale, there's a camera here. I believe this is Frederick. Yes, this is Frederick. Looks very low visibility. Well, there's ice on the camera there too, so that's blocking the view, but you can see some pretty big flakes beyond the ice that's on top of the camera there. So traveling in that direction going to be tough. South of Aberdeen, you can see low visibility in the distance. West of Aberdeen, looks a little bit better here, not as snowy, but still not ideal. And then, more blowing snow. This is in the Eureka area. Definitely looking more like whiteout conditions going on in that area. And we'll zoom over to Sisseton. Not looking too bad here, but again, watching out for some high winds in that location. And Lake City, you could see some snow on the road there. Okay, so we've gone over all of this, and I haven't even taken a look at the radar. Oh, I do have one. I like to have a little fun with this. One graphic I want to show you here. This is stages of the North Dakota, Minnesota winter. We showed you this the other day. Just to have fun. Might as well if we're going to deal with this. Right now, we're back to winter. It's second winter, and definitely experiencing that now. So something a little fun there. Okay, let's take a look at how things are. So on our this is our sky cam at Newman Outdoor Field in the north part of the metro. You can see that visibility. This is improved from other times this morning. We can see downtown, but the snow is really sticking to the tree branches, which is really pretty. But at the same time, that's weighing down those tree branches. And if we've had temperatures around freezing on those branches and any rain that was there froze up, we might have a little coating of ice, and then we have snow on top of that. That could be an issue for weighing down the branches and causing issues there. So something to keep in mind if you're going to be out and about, but that is pretty. So let's take a look at our radar now. So this is interesting because this is really diminishing compared to how it looked earlier this morning. You can see there's a band that's a lot heavier that stretches from around the Harvey area, back through Medina, down toward Ellendale, right into that area where we have that blizzard warning down into South Dakota. There's that band there. Then there are these isolated to scattered areas of snow going on right now. So there's some big breaks in between, which is nice to give some areas a break from the snow. And even a little green on the map still as some warmer air is still kind of intruding into this system. And I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go back a little bit in time to last night. Remember yesterday we were talking about the potential, if you were watching, we're talking about the potential for thunderstorms. We had conditions that were enough instability going on with this system that we thought maybe we might see some lightning and thunder potentially with this storm. So I'm going back to yesterday evening. This is in that, I picked my time frame from that 4 to 9 o'clock time, and you could see those lightning bolts popping up first in the Stutzman County area, then along that Highway 200 corridor. And then as it goes north, this changes over to snow pretty quickly here. So we did see thunderstorm activity. I'll just kind of scroll back and forth. There's about 7 p.m., some lightning there. And then from Carrington through Cooperstown, back over toward Mayville, there was that lightning. So I wonder if you saw it. Did you hear it? Interesting to see that. That ended up coming to be. We didn't see it in Fargo that I noticed, but again, very active system. So this was last night, And now let's go back to now. And so you can see there are areas where we've got some heavier snow. You know, I checked that Frederick camera just a little bit ago, and I was talking about those big flakes. That coincides, it matches up really well with our view there in Ellendale. And I'm just gonna look, we do have a camera west of Ellendale. It does look pretty snowy. A little tough to see the individual flakes there though. I can pull that up for you. I don't want to talk about it and then not show you what we are seeing. So this is, technically it's called Ashley, or it's located for Ashley on the camera along Highway 11, but it is still in Dickey County. You can see the snow-covered road, reduced visibility in the distance there. I'll show you the location here. We'll click off. Here's Ellendale. Ashley's over here. The camera's like right in between the two, a little bit closer to Ashley, which is why it's getting labeled that, but it is still in Dickey County and just to the west of Ellendale. So again, we've been seeing some heavier snow there, some heavier snow, again, Gackle, that area, back over toward Medina. Those areas are where the heavy snow has been showing up on the radar. So we'll go back to our radar now. And Fargo's getting some flakes, but it's not heavy at the moment. Lidgerwood down through the, looks like the Dakota Magic Casino Skycam has some snow coming down on it. So I'm going to pull up our Skycam on our website. Just bringing that up now, down by the Hankinson area, down by the border. If it wants to load, sometimes it takes a minute. In the meantime, we'll move on with our graphics. You can see Valley City, Jamestown may be seeing some snow. Now moving north, again, that band of snow continues to move back into Devil's Lake. We had a nice little break in Devil's Lake for a while, but that has since changed. Okay, camera is up. It just took a while. Oh no, it just went away. I just had it. Let's see if it'll load a little bit faster. There we go. Okay, so you can see we've got some big flakes flying there, some wind too, as snow is starting to move into that area again. And then I can check in on Grand Forks as well. It's been pretty snowy, wintry there. It looks like we're easing up on the snowfall coming down right now, but definitely some snow on the roads in Grand Forks. And I just realized I haven't been showing it to you. It's been in a monitor that is not on streaming. Sorry guys, trying to do too many things at once. Okay, so here's Grand Forks. Again, you can see that we've got some snow on the road, but no falling snow at the moment. And then let's bring up the Dakota Magic Casino Skycam again. We'll pull it up full screen. You can see some bigger flakes starting to come down there. They haven't had a lot of snow in that area yet this morning. It's been more rain and then a break, so that's picking back up. Okay, let's see here. We're gonna move back to the camera or the radar, and again, watching for the snow to move through as we go through time. Right now, temperatures, that's critical. We're right at freezing in Fargo. We're at 32 degrees. It is below freezing in Grand Forks, Jamestown, still above freezing in Fergus Falls. So again, right around the freezing mark. Definitely have some colder air moving into Langdon, and there's a wind chill factor too. So if you're out and about shoveling, make sure that you are staying warm. And just a reminder, we call this kind of snow the heavy wet snow. It's fun to make snowmen, but it's also, again, very heavy. So it's often labeled as heart attack snow because you can really have a tough time shoveling this snow and can really take its toll on your system. And so if you are vulnerable, if you have cardiovascular issues, if you have respiratory issues, if you're older, or any health issues and you're concerned, leave that for somebody who can help you, who's a little younger, who is a little healthier, because it can be quite difficult. If you must absolutely shovel this, try to give yourself time to shovel, multiple rounds so you can keep up with it, not do too much heavy lifting. And if you can avoid lifting at all, that's good. Push the snow instead of lifting. And dress in layers. One of the things that happens with this kind of event is that you're out in the cold shoveling and your blood vessels constrict when you are in the cold, and that creates narrow space for your blood to get through and can also contribute to that. And of course, take those breaks, as many as you need, and maybe, overdo it on the breaks if you can, just to be safe. So it's just a reminder as we're dealing with the snow. Wind speeds, we've got gusts in Baudette and Roseau, 35, 38 miles per hour there. So still some strong winds in that area. There's a bit of a break in between, not a complete break. I mean, we still have some wind speeds in the teens, and a gust to 30 in Langdon. But then it increases again, and we're kind of right in that strong wind area in northeastern South Dakota with those gusts into the 40s there. What's going on? Well, we've got the low moving overhead. So we've got wind coming in out of the east in one area, north in Fargo. So if we follow that along, we'll draw on this. So if we follow that along, so we're going from east to west, and now we're going south, and now we're going west to east. So that's the circulation. And what is that? Well, counterclockwise circulation, that tends to be low pressure. So that's the surface low, roughly, we'll say here. So as this low moves to the east, we're going to get the wind coming in out of the northwest on the backside of this. And this may pick up again and cause some more blowing and drifting. So we'll get rid of this messy map and take a look at our wind planner for Jamestown. You can see northwesterly winds as we head into the afternoon and evening, gusts into the 30s. And, that is something that, may not be where you are at that specific time, but this is a possibility here in the valley and anywhere where we have snow that's blowing snow and reduced visibility. Okay, after all that, let's talk about the forecast. We're looking at, again, areas of isolated to scattered snow showers continuing as we work our way through the afternoon. Now, this model not showing well what we're seeing on the radar, so take this with a grain of salt right now. We're looking at, some areas of snow, and there is that band is kind of showing here a little bit, that heavier band. But overall, pockets of snow, then a break, and then more pockets of snow possible here as we continue on into the afternoon. Temperatures around freezing or even below freezing, and then we really drop heading into tonight, so that water on the roads freezes up, water on our sidewalks freezes up if it hasn't already. The slush gets harder as we start to see our temperatures drop well into the 20s into the late night hours tonight. And you can see the coverage of the snow comes down, but it doesn't go away. We're still seeing snow showers, whether they're isolated to scattered into Thursday morning, with some wind out of the northwest, gusting in the 20s to 30 miles per hour. And so there is still that possibility that there are going to be areas that are impacted by ongoing wintry weather. But really, by the time we get into Thursday morning, we're kind of in that cleanup, recuperating phase of this system, though you can still see those snow showers continue into the day on Thursday. And that's why I've been showing our snowfall map through Thursday, through all the way through Thursday, because we still have that potential for snow even into Thursday night. And so this is a kind of a long duration, slowly adding up kind of event now that the heavy snowfall that moved through initially has started to come down. So let's take a look at the wind. Again, this is just another view of our wind gusts. The numbers on the map are not temperatures. This is wind gusts. Those stronger gusts in the northeast right now, and then to the south and west and in between. Closer to that low, it's not as strong. But once we move into, heading into tonight, heading into the overnight hours and tomorrow, we see more of those gusts into the 20s and 30s, especially in eastern North Dakota and in the southern end of the valley into Thursday. I'm hoping it won't be too bad. It won't be as strong as last night, but still we've got to watch out for that possibility for a little bit of blowing and drifting snow. So here's a look at our liquid equivalent precip forecast. This is what we could still see. A lot of areas in blue, meaning that a half inch or less of liquid moisture, a couple of pockets that may get a little more than that. And we've already picked up significant amounts. Here's a look at our liquid precip reports. So this is rain, meltdown snow, that kind of thing. Woodworth, as of last check, and it's been a half hour or so. This is from the North Dakota Agricultural Weather Network. Last check we were at close to 9/10 of an inch, so not too far under an inch of liquid moisture. Amaretto in that range. Hillsboro is about 3/4 of an inch, and Fertile a little over 6/10 of an inch, and Fargo at the NDSU sensor there about a half inch of liquid moisture. That's a lot in February to have that. So that means that we've got water in the ditches, we've got standing water in some places. We've been talking about making sure that you clear out the drains in your neighborhood because of the blockages that could create, and it could back up some of that melt water we've had, but also on top of that the rain that we've had. So if you can clear that away while you're shoveling, might be a good idea. And then again, water in the ditches, that can be hazardous too. So something to keep in mind. I've looked at a couple of our river gauges. They're going up slightly, but nothing of major concern as of right now. And now that we're getting to freezing temperatures, we're kind of locking things back up again. Let's take a look at the next couple of days. You see behind me here, Thursday. First half of the day continues to be a first alert weather day because, we're still going to be dealing with this system. Temperatures, teens and 20s. We're even chillier on Friday. We're looking at some numbers into the teens for a lot of spots to kick off our Friday and start our weekend. I can't rule out a flake or two on Friday either. And then a quick look at your forecast into the rest of the week. Temperatures that are into the teens Saturday and Sunday, and full Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and those are highs. Your lows are going to be closer to 0 on Sunday and Monday, a couple of degrees above in Fargo, but some places below. So certainly feeling more like February here into this coming weekend. Next week, though, we'll warm up a little bit. We'll get temperatures back in the 20s to around 30, which is totally normal for a February end here. Saturday is that last day of February. So looking at conditions that are much, much cooler here in the forecast as we are putting away that midwinter melt and returning back to winter for a little while longer through the rest of this month. So again, we are not done with this system. There are a lot of slick roads, issues with travel out there. We have some no travel advisories going on. Take those seriously. Check before you hit the road today and know that it is pretty slick in town. I got a lot of reports of, there's a layer of ice in the FM area, and then on top of that, there's snow, and it's just really slick and slipping and sliding going on. And so, just want to take it easy. And, if you can, stay home and just enjoy a snow day. I would have loved to do that. Do it if you can, and enjoy the quiet weather, and maybe build a snowman. It's great weather for it with that wet packable snow that we've picked up with this event. So I hope you stay safe, stay warm, and we'll continue to keep you updated throughout the day. Again, on Valley News Live, on TV, online, on Facebook. Let me just check really quick. I know that we sometimes get questions on Facebook, and I always encourage that. I want to see if we have any questions from folks. Jamie Lou, wishing everyone to be safe on the roads, and thanks to MnDOT, Minnesota DOT. Yes. Pamela wants to have those updates all the way to the Minnesota border too. Of course, we love our Minnesota viewers. And let's see here. Oh, somebody's saying hello from Texas. We welcome everybody to watch, especially, if you still have connections back here in the valley. So no big questions, but yes, we're going to be tracking the snow as it continues through the day today. And it's going to affect both North Dakota and Minnesota over the next 24 hours because we're still going to see these scattered to isolated snow showers making their way through, and it'll be right over the valley. So we'll continue to keep you posted. And again, we'll have someone back here in just a little while this afternoon in a few hours with an update, and you can always check valleynewslive.com, the VNL weather app. We just kind of walked you through some of those tools that you can use right there at any time when we're not on the air. But of course, we're here for you to give you some context of what you're looking at regular times throughout the day as well. So have a great day. We are going to sign off now and make sure that we're updating you at the noon hour. That's going to be our next update coming up on Valley News Live at noon, KX4, and the Fargo CW. And in the meantime, have a great day. This has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.